Gray Stefan, why I don't spend money. He's basically
What's
a
up, guys?
cheapskate.
It's Graham here. So
I'm
I think it's
joking.
no surprise, but for those who have seen my channel for a while or know me in person, you know that I'm extremely frugal.
Extremely
and even calling
frugal.
it that might be pretty generous. I'm financially prudent, might be a good way to call it. But no matter the term for it, my default has always been don't spend money. Even today, I still try to keep my expenses to a minimum. I aim to save 100% of what I make by only spending the money my investments make me. And no matter how much money I make, I'm still not gonna get guacamole at Chipotle because it seems like a waste of money. I still wait until after 9 p.m. to get the happy hour pricing on all-you-could-eat sushi. I still daily drive the exact same 2019 Tesla
From
Model
years
3
ago.
that I bought for $78 a month. And I still buy generic brand foods from the grocery store because the name brand item is the exact same thing for $2 more. Never made sense to me. Seriously, without exaggeration.
I can't believe he still does that. Massive round of applause, because I thought he was just putting it on for YouTube purposes, but he just lives that lifestyle.
Besides a few carefully crafted purchases that I'll talk about later in the video, I don't like spending money. And even though some people might think I've lost my mind, yeah, they're probably right. Just kidding. I promise if you actually hear me out, you'll see that there is a method to the madness of not spending money, and how adopting a few of these fiscally prudent practices could end up making you a fortune in the long run, especially if one day you want to live off your investments and make enough to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done that already. Oh, and also, big thank you to Incogni for sponsoring this video, but more on that later. Because first, in terms of my fiscally conservative psychology, I really began to understand the value of money and just how hard it was to keep when I got a part-time job in high school. Back then, I was making maybe $100 to $200 a week doing photography for a marine aquarium wholesaler. And I distinctly remember when I started adding up the cost of how much I could buy, I was blown away at how expensive everything was. I just remember
Back
thinking
then.
to myself, if I make $20 an hour, going out to a restaurant is going to cost me 2 hours out of my entire day just to pay for it. How does that make any sense? How could I ever do that? Or I would drive by a $2 million house and I'd calculate if I save $1,000 every single week, it would take me 40 years just to be able to live there. Honestly, at that age, I just figured, unless I won the lottery, I'm just like, how do people do it? I even remember a customer came in one time with a $10,000 Rolex on, and it blew my mind that somebody would spend $10,000 on a
Rolex.
watch. But you know what? I'll tell you, when I got my real estate license at 18 years old, I would drive and commute 45 minutes one way every single morning to drive into Beverly Hills because that's the area that I wanted to sell real estate in, and those are the people that I wanted to be around and learn from. And the funny thing is, the more time that I spent over there, the more that sort of lifestyle and mindset just became normal. Like after a few years, it seemed common for people to buy $5 million houses in cash. People would drive around Bentleys like they're Honda Civics. It was kind of like the Wizard of Oz when you finally see what's behind the curtain. I was this kid who didn't come from any of that. And to go and see a client drop $50,000 at Saks Fifth Avenue on a random afternoon was like, what? Honestly, just seeing that successful people like this were out there and that they weren't anything special. They weren't any more talented than I was. They didn't work harder than I was. They were just normal, average people who happened to become extremely wealthy doing something that they became very good at. And it inspired me to believe that if they're able to do it, I would be able to do it too. Well, but now...
And I believe that's all you need. You just need to see other people. They're not aliens. They don't have blue blood. They have the exact same red blood like I do. Why can't I do it? If it's possible for one, it's possible for all.
Now,
That's
almost
my
20
mentality.
years later, the roles have flipped, and I could be in their exact same position if I wanted to be, except I'm in a spare bedroom turned podcast room talking to a camera by myself on a Thursday afternoon. Oh, wait, hold on. Bailey's here. Bailey, say hi to the camera. Okay, but seriously, I still have a very similar psychology today as I did 20 years ago when
That's
I was
impressive.
making $100 a week. Like, I remember, on the one hand, just how far I could stretch $20. But on the other hand, those habits never really went away. Like, I could make a lot of money in a month, not spend any of it, and still obsess why the water bill is $75 higher than the previous month. Yes, I know it's completely irrational,
crazy.
but it's that sort of mentality that's kept me grounded, even when things are going well. And it's because of that mindset that's helped lead me here today, which is a lifestyle that the younger me could have only dreamed of. On top of that, in terms of saving money, I remember hearing about a concept early on that completely changed my entire perception of money. And it's the philosophy that I only earn what my money makes me. As an example of this, if I have $10,000, I don't view that as having $10,000 to spend. Instead, I see that as actually being worth $30 a month, adjusted for inflation for the rest of my life. And that's what I base my entire budget from. In fact, I try for a more conservative 2.75% spend rate. So for every $100,000 invested is really worth $2,750. And yes, $100,000 is objectively a lot of money. But when you think of it in terms of $2,750, it changes your entire mentality when it comes to money and what it's actually worth and what it could do for you invested. And by keeping your overhead as low as possible, you start to accumulate more options that give you the flexibility and freedom to really pursue what means the most for you. Now, if that's going and spending $4,000 at the Gucci store, totally fine. You do you. But what I found is that the real enjoyment just comes from having the option to buy something if you really want to, not actually going and buying the thing itself. And the funny thing is that once you get to a point where you could reasonably afford practically anything you want, the desire to own most things just goes away completely. All of a sudden, it's not as impressive as it once was when you couldn't afford them. So what do I spend money on then? Well, I have no problem spending on things that save me time, reduce stress, and just give me peace of mind. Like, for those that don't know, for the longest time, my phone was getting bombarded with spam phone calls, like sometimes 5, 6, 7 times a day, from numbers I didn't recognize, and my inbox was completely flooded with junk emails from companies I've never even heard of before. What's crazy, though, is that this isn't just me. It happens to everybody, because chances are your personal data is already floating around on the internet in the hands of third parties, scammers, and anyone else who might want to target you. That's why I finally decided that I couldn't deal with it anymore, and our sponsor, So if you Google yourself and you find your personal information, give it a shot and get that by the cost, and this determines how much value I'm getting for every dollar spent. For example, I found this incredible all-you-could-eat sushi spot in Vegas for $30. To me, that's like a 90 out of 100 on the fun scale. Divide that by the $30 cost, and you get a dollar to fun ratio of 3. Now, compare that to something else like $200 wine tasting, which to me would be like 20 out of 100 on the wine scale, and you get a score of 0.1. In this case, the $30 all-you-could-eat sushi is 30 times more dollar efficient than going wine tasting for $200. So that's a better use of money. Or at this reef aquarium, where I could spend hours tinkering around with it for, at this point, maybe $100 a month. So that's a good dollar to fun ratio for the amount of time I'm able to spend on it. By the way, really quick, speaking of aquariums, I'm teaming up with Mr. Beast and Mark Rober to raise $40 million this month to bring clean drinking water to 2 million people. So if you want to join me in donating, the link is down below in the description. Of course, I'm sure some people will say, "But Graham, you have a multi-million-dollar house and a Ford GT and Rolex watches. How dare you say you don't spend any money? You're a hypocrite." Okay, this is the part that I was really looking forward to talking about, because when most people think about expensive houses, cars, and watches, they go about it all wrong. They overpay for a house that they could barely afford. They buy a car that depreciates like a rock, or they pay twice the MSRP for a Rolex that's overhyped because John Mayer says he likes it. The truth is, most people buying these items are completely misinformed, and with a little planning and some structure, there's a way to buy practically anything you could ever want for free. Take this house, for example. I calculated that it would pay for itself in full just from the savings of leaving California. I also ran the numbers and realized that it made sense to take out as much money as I could at a 2.875% interest rate. Well, guess what? 5 years later, I've made a 700% return on my down payment, and the tax savings have more than paid for the entire mortgage, meaning I've made money buying the house. It's free. Same thing with the Ford GT. I bought it 4 years ago, knowing that its worst case scenario would be like I'm putting money in a savings account. And guess what? That car has now gone up 50% in value. So I've made money owning a Ford GT. It's a free car. Or take this Rolex. It's not the newest, latest, greatest, mass-produced timepiece that Rolex is trying to pawn off to their customers so they can move up on a wait list. Instead, it's a 1980s gold Rolex Oyster Quartz. They only ever made about 5,000 of these. They're discontinued, and I paid $12,500 for it. Think about that for a second. The gold value alone in this watch, if you melted it down for scrap, is worth more than I paid for the watch itself. So I was able to get a fairly rare Rolex, again, for free. The same could be said about the Rolex Daytona. Instead of buying the Panda Daytona, which is impossible to obtain at retail price without a massive purchase history, I found a 1998 Zenith Daytona with original box and papers for the same price that a Panda would be at MSRP. So again, it's like I'm able to get a free watch because I could sell it for more than the price that I paid for it. It's a no-brainer. Honestly, this is the only way I could ever justify buying or owning certain items when I'm certain that at the worst-case scenario...
The man's a genius, okay? If you actually sit down and think of it, just use your brain, it makes sense. It honestly does make sense. And that's why I wanted to check out this video, and it was recommended as well. Wow.
I'm not going to lose any money on it. And you don't have to have millions of dollars to do this either. Like, chances are, if you do some research and some planning, you could find a money-making version that holds its value of practically anything. Like, chances are, a fun Honda S2000 is probably going to cost you a lot less than the responsible Toyota Corolla, or a used Tissot PRX could be sold to someone else for the same price that you paid. A barely used MacBook Pro might cost you nothing over a year if you negotiate the right deal. With a little planning and patience, there's a way to get almost anything that you could ever want for free. Like, even when it comes to travel, there are so many options out there to redeem credit card points for first-class flights and hotels while spending nothing extra out of pocket. That's why when I do spend money, I make sure, at the very least, I'm not going to be losing any of it. And I've been doing this now for over 15 years. Like, the Lotus Elise I bought. I paid $30,000 for it, and I sold it 2 years later for $30,000. I bought a Lotus Exige S240 for $50,000, and I sold it 2 years later for $50,000. I have made money on every single house that I bought and lived in. Everything becomes free if you know what to look for and you have a little flexibility and patience to find the right deal. Rant over. Chances are, if you see me with anything that looks expensive, just know that I probably found a way to get that thing for free, or I paid a price for it where it's impossible for me to lose any money on it. Except if it's a Tesla Roadster. We'll just pretend that doesn't exist. I guess this ties back to the whole frugal mindset thing, where I just don't see the point in wasting money unnecessarily, and I've still found ways to enjoy what I saved without actually spending any of the money. Plus, when you really get down to it, honestly, the basics are the most enjoyable, and beyond a certain point, the dollar-to-fun ratio starts getting pretty quickly diminishing returns. I know it sounds weird to say, but you probably get 90% enjoyment on that first $25,000 a year of discretionary spending, and then that extra 10% could cost you millions for every incremental uptick from there. Like, I don't think the dude getting chauffeured around in a brand new Rolls Royce is having that much more fun than the other person who's just mopping around in a free Mazda Miata with the top down, if that makes sense. Or the first-class plane ticket isn't that much more fun than the economy ticket with extra...
Let's see the comment section real quick. Bro is a millionaire and doesn't buy a triple... Graham, time to go Costa Rica for a darkness retreat. Yeah. I like that. Okay, bro looks tired. Yeah, I mean, it's age, innit? He's aging now, I guess. But look, imagine having enough money to be comfortable self-esteem, but being stressed about the same money that a dude you... Yeah, the irony. But look, to each their own, and so far it's been working wonders. So I hear it and I'm here for it. It makes sense, and I believe there's a lot to learn, and there's something that I would like. That is something that I would like to actually steal from him. How can I work out, or how can I buy something for free, or something that it can pay for itself? You know? Yeah. But anyways, can't respect a millionaire who greatly underpays his housekeeper to clean. Did he say that? I don't get it. Why did I even like it? I don't like that. I don't think he said... He didn't say that at all. But yeah. Anyways, look, people will hate. Haters will hate. But I'm here for it. It makes sense. Especially trying to jump from where you could be financially to try and reach 1 million and so forth, it makes sense. But I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I think it makes sense. Like the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. God bless.